Hello everyone, my name is Qiu Yanjia and this is our economic final presentation and we are group A7. So let's jump in. My name is Qiu Yanjia and my question is number 1. So my question is about the US and United States and China's trade war between them. And this is not just about number or policies. It's about understanding the profound impacts on our daily lives, businesses and the global economy. So let's start by asking, what exactly is a trade war? It's when countries impose tariff or trade barrier against each other to gain economic advantages. And in recent years, the US and China have been major players in this economic tug of war. This presentation will explore the history, policies, and consequences of these ongoing conflicts. So let's go. In the early 2000s, China emerged as a major global exporter. The US initially embraced trade relations with China, but over time, tension arose due to accusations of intellectual property theft, unfair subsidies, and trade imbalances. The WTO promotion of the trade liberalization played a significant role in this evolving relationship. As a result, the US began importing heavily from China, allowing American consumers access to cheaper products, but also increasing reliance on Chinese imports. This interdependent trade relationship was shaped by the WTO free trade policies. In 2018, under President Trump, the situation escalated into a trade war, with the US imposing tariff and China retaliating. This marked the beginning of an ongoing trade conflict that continued to impact our global market. The evolution of US-China trade relations reflects the complex interplay of economic interests and strategy consideration between the two nations. So you can see in the graph on the left side, domestic price is higher than the China product's price. So the consumer have more intention to buy the goods imported from China. And the area between the domestic price and the China price represent the quantity of the products that is imported. As a domestic consumer take advantages of the lower China price. And next one. The US China trade war has been driven by a few key policies. The US imposed tariffs on Chinese goods in 2018 to protect domestic industry, leading to higher prices for Chinese imports. China retaliated with tariff on US agricultural products, hurting American farmers. Tariffs are taxes on imports designed to shield domestic industries, but they also decrease overall demand and imports. Additionally, the US placed restrictions on Chinese tech companies like Huawei, citing national security concerns. The protection policy were intended to support domestic industry, but have had widespread ripple effects on global trade and economies. So you can see on the graph that on the on the left side, a tariff T on the imports from China has led to an increase in the domestic price PD and reduction of the quantity of imports. The domestic supply curve S and the demand curve D intersect at a new equilibrium, reflecting the impact of the tariff policy on the domestic markets. This depicts how trade protection measures can affect the balance between domestic price and import goods. And next one. The graph on the left side you can see indicates the impact of an import tariff on the domestic market. The introduction of the tariff causes the imported product price to rise from P1 to P2. This leads to a decrease in consumer surplus. Also, there's a deadweight loss you can see, which is D and F part. And the middle part of E is the tax revenue of the government. And why? So what else will the tariff cause in some negative sides? So first one is increase the consumer prices. Tariff raises the cost of imported goods, which is often passes on to consumers, leading to higher prices and reducing purchasing the power. And the second one is reduce market competition. With tariffs increasing the price of imported goods, domestic companies may no longer feel the need to improve their products or lower prices, resulting in decreased market competition and affect the product quality and the innovations. The third one is retaliatory tariff. Other country may impose retaliatory tariff against the country that has imposed tariffs, leading to trade war and further damaging both economies. Number four is impact on international relations. Tariff can harm international trade relations, affect foreign policy, and potentially reduce international cooperation. Number five is inefficient resources allocation. Tariffs distort the market prices, leading to an inefficient resource allocation, and as resource may not allow to the most efficient producers. And the last one is negative impact on specific industry. While some industry may benefit from the tariff, other side that rely on imported raw material or products may suffer, leading to unemployment and economic decline. So now, next is given to Jordan. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Zhang Jingyun, and I'm responsible for the second question. I will answer some questions about Bulgarian tasks. Question A. What is the definition of a socially harmful externality? A negative externality occurs when the activity imposes unintended and uncompensated costs on third party or society, which are not reflected in the market price, leading to inefficient resource allocation. And there is a significant example: battery pollution. Batteries often emit harmful substances, and these pollutants cause a lot of health issues, environmental issues, while the battery avoids bearing the full cost of its action. Question B. Use a diagram to illustrate how Pythagorean tests shift the cost of a socially harmful externality from society to its producer. Then we have to first learn what Pythagorean test is. Pythagorean tests are designed to transfer the societal costs of negative externality to their producer, which means the government levies taxes on producer to avoid pollution. And in the picture, we can see two lines. The blue line is the initial market supply curve with that private cost only, and the tax shift the supply curve upward, incorporating external cost, and that is social cost. Question C. Use another diagram to demonstrate how Pythagorean tests discourage behavior that creates such negative externality. And in this diagram, the horizontal axis is pollution level, and the vertical axis is cost. And the blue line is the marginal private cost without tax, and the red line is the marginal private cost plus tax, and the tax is Pythagorean tax. And we can see the red line is at the blue line leftward. That means it had reduced pollution level. Question D. Use a third diagram to explain how Pythagorean taxes improve economic efficiency, particularly when the tax corresponds to the cost of the external damage. Pythagorean tax improve economic efficiency by aligning private costs with social costs. When the tax equals the external cost, it guides the market to the socially optimal output, where the social cost equal to the social value. And in this diagram, we can see the two same lines, the private cost and the social cost, and another line, private value. And we know that private value is equal to social value in this case. Because the tax internalize externality, forcing producers to account for societal harm. It reduced overproduction and minimized net weight loss, maximizing total welfare. So we know the task ensure an efficient market outcome.
Hello everyone, I'm John Fong and I'm responding for question 3. And for the first section, A, we must calculate the total cost, average variable cost, total fixed cost, average fixed cost, and the price. And for total cost, we already know the average total cost. So we can 2.2 average total cost times quantity, we can get the total cost is 4,400. And for the average variable cost, we have already know the total variable cost is 3,600 divided by 2,000. It was equals to 1.8, and then is the average variable cost. And for the total fixed cost, we have already know the total cost, total variable cost, and total fixed cost will be total fixed cost plus total variable cost will equals to the total cost. So minus, and we can get the total fixed cost is equals to 800, and divided by the quantity is 2,000 is average cost. And the price is price times quantity will equals to the total revenue, and we can divide it by quantity. Total revenue divided by quantity, we can get the price is 2. And for question B, we must illustrate the individual demand curve faced by TSM and the marginal revenue curve. And for a TSM company, it is a perfectly competition firm. So for the demand curve, it will be a horizontal lines because competition market is the price taker. So whatever the price made by the market, the individual firms will take the price. So the demand curve will equals to the price and it will be horizontal like this. And why will the marginal revenue also equals to the price? It's because marginal revenue equals to an additional increase in quantity and divided by an additional increase in profit, in revenue. And in a competition market, the price will always be the same. So the marginal revenue and additional increase in marginal revenue will equals to the price as the demand curve. So the demand curve will equals to the marginal revenue. And for question C, we must calculate, we already know the average variable cost, and it is at the minimum. So the 1.8 average variable cost is at the minimum, and the marginal cost is equals to 1.8. And we can get the graph like this. At this point, is the TSM company producing at this point. So, but this point isn't the maximum profit point, because if in a competition market, it will be maximum profit at the point where MR equals to MC, marginal revenue equals to marginal cost. But why? Because marginal revenue, like this point, marginal revenue is bigger than the marginal cost. And if you increase more quantity, you will earn more profits in this point. Like this point, marginal cost is 1.8 and marginal revenue is 2. So if you increase one more quantity, you will earn 0.2 profit at this point. So whenever the marginal revenue equals to the marginal cost, that will be the maximum profit. And for question D, we need to see if the TSM should shut down in the short run. And to shut down in the short run, the cost of shutdown is the total revenue. If you shut down, you can earn any revenue, so this will be the total revenue. But the benefits to shut down isn't the total cost, this will be the variable cost, because in just shutdown, we need to also consider the fixed cost. It also should be spent out, so we should ignore fixed cost and only consider about variable cost. So if variable cost bigger than total revenue, the TSM should shut down in the short run. And divide the inequality by Q with TR and BC divided by Q, we can get the inequality to average total revenue smaller than average variable cost, which is equals to the price. Average total revenue will equals to the price, and smaller than average variable cost. And to see the graph, this is the TSM's profit in the short run, and this is the average variable cost, and the marginal revenue equals to the marginal cost point. So this is the revenue in the short run. So TSM shouldn't shut down in the short run. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Lin Yifei, and my part is question 4. So this is the question, and I'll read over for you. Your father used to work for a multinational company and earning 100,000 NT dollars per month. However, he grew tired of working for someone else and decided to quit his job to open a coffee shop on the first floor of his own house. Before opening the coffee shop, this space was rented for a small bookstore for 20,000 NT dollars per month. To start the business, he borrowed 600,000 NT dollars from the bank and used 400,000 NT dollars from his savings, forming an initial capital of 1 million NT dollars. He then spent the entire 1 million NT dollars on decorating the coffee shop and purchasing equipment. The bank's annual loan interest rate is 2%, while the annual interest rate for saving is 1%. Your father doesn't know how to roast coffee beans, so he purchases roasted beans from a coffee roasting expert every month, spending 40,000 NT dollars. His other monthly expenses total 20,000 NT dollars. Since he doesn't hire any employees, he has no wage cost. In the first month, his revenue was 150,000 NT dollars. Okay, so we can organize the question into 4 parts. The first part is the original work, original earning. It's 100,000 NT dollars per month for the work he used to have in the multinational company. And the second is 20,000 NT dollars per month for renting the space out to the bookstore. And the second part is about the loan and interest rate from borrowing from the bank and taking out the money from his savings, which is 600,000 NT dollars from the bank and 400,000 NT dollars from his savings. And the third part is how he cost for operating the coffee shop. The first is purchase for roasted beans per month is 40,000 NT dollars, and the second is other monthly expenses total is 20,000 NT dollars. And the last is the revenue he operates the coffee shop. So it is 150,000 NT dollars. Okay, so the first question is about the total monthly explicit cost. So we need to first know what is explicit cost. Explicit cost is input costs that require an outlay of money by the firm. So we need to calculate the money. First is the interest for borrowing the money from the bank, which is 600,000 NT dollars, and we need to times the interest rate, which is 2%, and divide it by 12 because it is annual interest rate. So in a year there's 12 months, so divided by 12, which equals 1,000. And the second is the cost of roasted coffee beans, which is 40,000 NT dollars, and other monthly expenses is 20,000 NT dollars. So the total explicit cost is 61,000 NT dollars. Okay, and the second question is about the total monthly implicit cost. So we need to know what is implicit cost, which is input costs that do not require an outlay of money by the firm. And how to calculate it, we need to put it in 3 parts. So the first part is the earned father used to work, which is the opportunity cost. The earned father used to work for a multinational company, which is 100,000 NT dollars per month. And the second is the annual interest for saving, which is 400,000 NT dollars, and we need to times the interest rate, which is 1%, and divide it by 12 because there are 12 months in a year, and which is 333.33. Okay, and the third is the rent of the space for bookstore, which is 20,000 NT dollars. So the total implicit cost is 120,333.33 NT dollars. Okay. And the third question is about the accounting profit, and we need to know what is accounting profit first. So accounting profit is total revenue minus total explicit cost, and we need to calculate it since we know the explicit cost on the initial question, we need to minus total revenue. Total revenue needs to minus total explicit cost, and the revenue for operating the coffee shop is 150,000 NT dollars, and the total explicit cost we calculated was 61,000 NT dollars, and the total accounting profit will be 89,000 NT dollars at the end. And this is the fourth question, which is economic profits, and we need to know what is economic profit. It is total revenue minus total costs, and how we calculate it is minus the total cost. And we need to know total cost is implicit cost plus explicit cost. So total revenue, we already know it's 150,000 NT dollars, and we need to minus 181,333.33 NT dollars, and the total economic profit would be negative 31,333.33 NT dollars. So it has a loss. And do you think father made the right decision? So from my point of view, I think he didn't, because first, we need to know what he gave up. First is the salary of the multinational company. He had earned for 100,000 NT dollars per month, and the second is the rent of the bookstore, which is 20,000 NT dollars per month. He usually get these money. And the second is the cost that had been, we need to know that the cost that had been spent in short run could be ignored, and we could see them as sunk cost, which is those in the middle of these. We could see these as sunk cost because we already gave it out. Okay, and back to this. Okay. The third is the cost he would be spending when he is operating the coffee shop is the roasted beans per month, which is 40,000 NT dollars, and other monthly expenses total is 20,000 NT dollars. Okay, so after the calculating, the profit of operating the coffee shop would be 70,000 NT dollars, and the original profit of working in the company and getting the rent is about 120,000 NT dollars. So we can know that the original wage is bigger than the total profit of he operate a coffee shop. So as a result, only when the satisfaction of operating the coffee shop is bigger than his original job, operating the coffee shop is a better choice. And in other words, it wouldn't be a good choice to operate the coffee shop. Okay, this is my part. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Jordan, and today I'm about to share with you guys question 5. An electric company is a classic example of a natural monopoly. For 70 years, Thai Power has held a monopoly on supplying electricity to Taiwanese consumers. However, Taiwan recently amended its Electricity Act, allowing other traditional energy supplies to sell electricity directly to consumers, effectively ending Thai Power's long-standing monopoly in the sectors. So I highlight 2 main points. One is that originally Thai Power was considered to be natural monopoly, but now with the new law, it becomes a perfect competition market. So let's dive into question A. What is the definition of a natural monopoly? We always know that natural monopoly has the kind of market power to determine the price, and they are the price maker. And the definition of a natural monopoly is that a natural monopoly occurs when a single firm can produce the entire market demands due to economics of scales. And we also can graph and illustrate into this kind of diagram to show that average cost is always higher than average variable cost and marginal cost. And we always have a sense that the characteristics of natural monopoly is that it has a very high fixed cost and it also have an economic of scales. It means that average cost decreasing as output increases. So you can see very vividly in the graph that the quantity becomes higher, but the cost is lower. So we can know another question and jump into the next. Why is an electric company such as Taipower considered a natural monopoly? And I divided into 3 parts. One is high fixed costs, and the other another is economics of scales, and the other is barrier to entrance. For the first one, we can always know that building an electricity company is not easy. So it definitely have to, the cost of building and maintaining the electricity grid is prohibitively high. And we also know that economics of scale, a single company can produce electricity more efficiently than multiple smaller firms. Just like what Taiwan's government try to focus on just one company and try to do their best to provide the best electricity for our consumers. And the final one is about barrier to entry. The significant capital investment required for infrastructure creates a barrier for potential competitors. And it's so easy for each one of us to imagine that if we want to build an electricity company, it's so hard. So it needs a lot of infrastructure and lots of investment. And that's the reason why it becomes a natural monopoly. So let's jump to question C. Use a diagram that includes various cost curves, the market demand curve faced by Taipower and its marginal revenue curve to illustrate how Taipower determines its optimal quantity of output and price. So we can see that the first thing that we have to do is to find out the marginal revenue equals marginal cost. So that we can find out the quantity, and we can use quantity to shift up to the demand curve and to find out the price. And then the Taipower become perfect competition. So we can know that the question wants us, what is in a case of perfect competition? We have 2 ways to solve this problem. For the first one, we can use the the symbol of perfect competition, that marginal revenue equals marginal cost equals price. So we can find out that the price is over there, and we can use this price to shift out to a demand curve, and we will find a quantity. And the other way for each one of us to solve this problem is to use marginal cost curve equals supply curve. So we can use supply curve intersect with demand curve, and we can find out the market equilibrium so that we can find out the price and the quantity easily. And let's jump into the final question that I want to share with you guys. And you discuss how electricity, price, and quantities in Taiwan will change as the electricity market transitions from a monopoly to perfect competition, and provide both graphical and descriptive analysis. So from C and D questions, we always can know that the graph that I shows you, but you can find a subtle difference in this graph, that the price and the quantity is totally different, but they always have the same marginal cost, but they have the different kind of price. So we can conclude that into the next page. We know that the price of monopoly is higher than the perfect competition. And the quantity, and when it comes to quantity, we know that the quantity of monopoly is smaller than the quantity of perfect competitions. But we want to make a further analysis. We can look at the next graph. We can talk about the welfare. Yeah, we also know that natural monopoly definitely have a direct loss. And on the other hand, perfect competition can give customer lots of consumer surplus. So we can always know that sometimes if you want to maximize the welfare, maybe perfect competition is a better choice for the whole society, perhaps. And that's the end of our presentation, and we want to show with you guys the foundation that we learned in this kind of economic class And I hope you that understand what we want to share with you guys, especially the pivotal lessons that we learned during the whole semester. And that's the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening.